Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. How are we? Hope we're okay. I'm just settling down really I was just reflecting, just sitting down and relaxing and trying to concentrate on my evening, just trying to gather my thoughts. And I just had like a sort of, an urge to come out and talk again, keep the talking up whilst I battle these demons that I'm currently battling at the moment. And whilst I was reflecting, I had an interesting scenario come into my head. I don't know whether it was because, I suppose when you're in a bit of a dark place, you're a bit of an empty place, you tend to think of things more negative. And for me, I've never really spoken whilst I've been in that state before, just because I try to avoid it. I try to avoid going into that sort of negative space. So I thought to myself, well, what's the best thing to do? You're having these negative thoughts, jump online, have a talk, and then maybe sort of kind of throw the scenario that you're currently thinking of out there. See how it's received and see if people perceive it in the same way. And that was kind of, I suppose, the masculinity of me, the sort of masculine side of me has come in a little bit. And I suppose it's because of the doubt in my head, just because of recent events. Am I being too honest? Is there that vulnerability? Sometimes does that vulnerability shine through too much? Where's the limit? When do you stop being open and honest? I know that I get very much, a lot of people will think of me now as, an honest person, and I'll say it as it is, and for me, that's kind of always, well, I said always, it's kind of worked, and I think there's a way of applying that to being open, honest, and looking for guidance and support, and being open about that helps people come closer quicker. So I kind of see it as that's how it's been, but then I suppose this sort of kind of air of negativity has been clouded over me the last couple of days. And, I was back in work, today to try and sort of plod on and, give myself purpose, give myself that focus, and, I just kind of went into this place of maybe I'm being a bit too open and honest. Maybe, I'm being a bit too friendly, it was interesting that I'd had a conversation with my line manager, and, she was kind of like a little bit, I was thanking her for sort of being supportive of me. I had to tell her, obviously, so she knew why I was in a bit of a funny place. And, I kind of, sort of said to her, thanks very much. Thanks for being supportive. I've never really had a line manager support me. And she was, oh, that does make me kind of sad. And then sort of moved on and said, well, and it went very sort of formal, I have to do that. It's my job. And I was like, and you don't have to do that, but at the same time, maybe I'm being too open and honest. I didn't want to come across as anything other than just a pure thank you. It was kind of like, there's nothing in it more than I'm just a nice person, I suppose. But sometimes I'm so chalk and cheese to the way I used to be when I was going through those years of depression, where I was quite sort of hard-faced and, drinking and sort of kind of a bit brash, sort of kind of, Jack the Lad, I suppose, if you were, but not quite Jack the Lad, because, obviously noting that I had a wife and kids. But at the same time, that doesn't stop me acting like a bit of a dick, basically. I think I call them dicks as I've got older. But, it kind of sort of led on today of thinking, am I too open and honest? Am I being too vulnerable? Am I sounding needy? And it's not that kind of neediness. It's just that kind of, I just don't want to feel, I don't want people to feel like they're suffering. I don't want people to feel like this negative clouds over their head. I hate the thought of anybody else. If I could endure everybody's, kind of misery, I think I've got a strong enough personality to take it on. I would love that. Give me your misery and you can be happy and I'll keep battling this. That's the sort of strength that I feel. And I do that. That's why I do it. That's why I enjoy doing this. That's why I enjoy being open and helping people. But I don't know. I felt a little air of negativity today. And, it sort of clouded, am I losing that masculinity? Is this why men don't talk? Because they get to a certain point and they go, okay, I'm sounding, a bit fucking needy. I don't want to sound needy. Or, and you sort of kind of go back into that humble state of, I'll just be the man and I'll just get on with it. What are you doing? So it's kind of, I don't know, it's that air of negativity. And I don't know whether that's a part to do with the fact of, what's happened recently and the sort of shape and focus I have on life at the moment. I sort of sense a little bit of negativity in some of my responses today. So, I need to be careful because, whilst I battle this, it's really easy for me to go in and undo, 8 months of hard work and probably 2 years of really hard work to get to where I am by not acknowledging that, I need that break. So there's a lot to think about. It's an absolute lot to think about. But it was interesting. I wanted to put it out to, the listeners, just to understand, listening to me, knowing me, would you say that's too much? Or, those sort of questions, sort of, I don't know, you sort of kind of get that little bit of self-doubt, am I doing the right thing? Am I being like this? And I enjoy it. That's the problem, is I enjoy helping people. I like to be this person because I like to break the norm. And that's why I enjoy it. But anyway, before I digress even deeper and pull myself into the abyss of lost, focus, let's move on from that. But it was interesting. So, and anyway, it sort of brings me in as well, because like I say, I've been thinking crazy today. I've kind of been a bit all over. I had a really lovely message from my friend Billy this morning, saying, well done for doing the podcast yesterday. It must have been really tough, and he's here if you need someone to talk to. And I had a really lovely message from my mate Kieran as well. He was sort of kind of, buddy, well done, and sort of kind of, how are you, checking in on me. It was really nice. It was just really nice to sort of feel that reward and still have your friends thinking of you. It's really important, I think, in times like this. It is, it's quite easy to forget, move on, and just think that everything's okay. And that's where the true friendship shows. I've always said that, in your hour of need, your true friends will show. And that's very much prevalent, I think. And that's where I've been able to, kind of condense my friendship group down to what it is, because I realised over the years when I reflected and hit the people I had spoken to, the people I'd spoken to along this, before this journey, and the people I'd been around, and I was, if I'm brutally honest, the only way I can describe the last 11 years is a bit of a daze. I seem to be, as I'm trying to battle myself daily, I tend to reflect a lot more now, and I think it's also coupled with the diagnosis from ADHD. I have noticed that I'm taking this thing. I don't know whether anybody will sort of kind of research it. But it's called lion's mane, and it's like a mushroom, and it's totally legal, by the way, before you sort of kind of panic and worry about anything like that. But what it does is it's a natural drug. I didn't want to go onto a focus drug that's done by the pharmaceuticals, because I'm already on. I'm already on 3 of those, and I didn't really want to kind of worry about that. So it's something I'm battling, the other things. So eventually, if it doesn't work, but from what I've researched, and I researched it really heavy, is there is a lot of natural stuff out there to help you focus. So I've been trying this stuff, and it's like a tea. You just put it in like a tea, and you just, away you go. And it gives me a lot more focus. But what I've noticed with the focus, and it's only been a couple of days, and they do say it takes a couple of weeks to fully take effect, and it helps you just sort of kind of research it. I'll let you research it. But it's so it kind of, it's given me focus, given me that thing. But what I have done with the reflection aspect of that is I reflect quite heavily. So what I've been doing is analysing the last 11 years whilst I'm in a relatively good state, and I'm trying to process everything in my current form, if you like, without sounding spiritual. But I'm trying to sort of kind of battle things around me. So I reflect on the older times to see how I've changed. And I think reflection is so important. It's so important. Even, the biggest part about reflection that people forget is don't reflect on just the scenarios. Don't reflect on just the day and how someone treated you. Do self-reflection. That's the key part there. How did you feel, when you did that? So to always tie something in. So, you kind of go, okay, I had a really bad day, or that person pissed me off. Well, let me just analyse why he pissed me off or she pissed me off. And then you kind of go, okay, so now you're doing a self-reflection. And with the self-reflection comes the proper detail. This is where things get better, because what you do with the self-reflection is you understand what's upset you, what's made you happy, or what made you, I don't know, aroused, what made you non-aroused. We do it in all of these different forms, and every single day, we have partners and we go, okay, well, that doesn't turn me on, your fucking chamming doesn't turn me on, you biting your nails doesn't turn me on, or that, or taking your shirt off coming out, whatever it may be. Anything, I'm sort of went on a bit of a tangent there, but anything you can put it into a positive spin or a negative spin, and we analyse it all the time, but we don't analyse it for the right reasons, and that's where self-reflection comes in, and we don't use it. It's this tool that we can use all the time for our friendships and our relationships. I have a friend, and you go, okay, well, there's 5 of us together. Out of these 4 of my friends, I guarantee that one of them I'm not going to like. We all rate everybody. We do it as natural. This person might, I don't know. I'm going to go on a tangent. I'm not going to bother. But we don't do it for the right reasons. We don't do it where the self-reflection comes in. We don't analyse ourselves very much. And one of the biggest things I found in this negative fucking hole that I'm in a moment is actually the self-reflection is really, really important, and that's the bit that I've been really focusing on the last couple of weeks, is self-reflection, and that's finding out what's upset me, who's upset me, how did they upset me, and then actually, Anna, is it me, is it them, if it is them, then just avoid them, or, do you know what I mean? When we do this properly, we actually self-reflect on us, and we take time to look at the day, or even look at the week, and you go to the week, I've had a bit of a shit week. Why have I had a bit of a shit week? Okay, let's break it down. Okay, I had a shit week because, matey boy said something to me, or fucking, this happened. Okay, well, did I overreact? Like, to give you a scenario where I think I've overreacted today, but this passion was, we've just had this massive project done. We've got a skate park in the local community, and it's just been graffitied up, but by the community, for the community, with a professional graffiti artist, letting them all have a go. And it looks really, really smart. And, they've cut the grass around it. They've put a bench there, sign, it looks amazing. It's a really good community area. And I took some photos and I posted them on the community page. It was like, this is amazing. And then just as I was walking my dog, just after I'd taken the photos, I was coming back through the wooded area. So no one really, you can't see, it's like a path. And I heard these kids over. And then, as I heard the noise of spraying and them laughing and giggling. And they'd had and obviously I'd been a painter for 21 years, so I knew the smell was wafting my way. I knew the acrylic smell well. So I walked over and, lo and behold, it was my children that were involved in these. It wasn't them doing it, but they were involved in it. And anyway, and the boys. And the boys were graffitiing on top and spraying around. And I just sort of kind of went a bit defensive. I was like, what are you fucking doing? You're affecting everybody. This is a community area and you're affecting it. So what are you doing? Stop being fucking idiots. You're just writing on here to ruin something for everybody in your small minority group. And I did. I read them the riot act. Sounded like, I literally come back and my wife said to me, you sound like Victor Meldrew, except you're violent. She put it in context. I'm not violent, but she's like, you're a little bit more, you're quite broad. You haven't got the Victor Meldrew stature. You've just got his attitude. So, and I do. I challenge anybody. I'll absolutely fucking challenge anybody. It doesn't bother me. I'm just like, if you're being a dick and you're associating, I said to them, this is fucking vandalism. What are you playing at? Sort yourself out. And I must have sounded like a right grumpy old parent. And I did get the question asked to me, from my wife. She said, well, did you ever do that as a kid? Actually, I didn't graffiti. I mean, I chalked on the fucking floor, but chalk washes off, for fuck's sake. I didn't graffiti. I never did. It never floated my boat. I always saw it as vandalism. I always saw it as, this is either someone's product or an area. And if it's, don't get me wrong, I'm not slating graffiti, because there is some fucking blinding graffiti out there. But this was just mindless, It wasn't even a cock and balls. If he'd have drawn a cock and balls, I'd have been fucking impressed, you know what I mean? Everyone's got to have a comedy cock. But it wasn't that. It was just like a random swear word. But, and that's what kind of disappointed me. I was disappointed in the youth to start with. I was like, fucking hell. I mean, where's the comedy cock's gone, for starters? And then second of all, it's just a pathetic swear word. If you're going to do it fucking properly. Make it worth the bollocking. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I digress. But yeah, so it was, and I overreacted, and that's my mood at the moment. I'm a bit overreacting. I'm a little bit, and this is where I need to step back and just take my time, and I have. I've reflected this evening very heavily, and that's what's inspired me to come and talk about, the masculinity feeling, and, it sort of drew me into putting on faces and what I've been doing lately, and I sent this, basically, when I told my boss, my boss's boss, sorry, that, the incident, because I had to, she sent out an email. Just basically saying, can you leave me alone and just while I try and get my head together? But I'll be in work, I'll answer emails, I'll do what I need to do, but I work flexibly, so I have that nice approach. Anyway, said it was quite serious, it was to do with my well-being, etc., etc. And, really, really understanding. And took away the pressure of work. Even though work isn't a pressure to me, it took it away. And it was really nice to feel that feeling of a company supporting that and actively being able to be approached. But then, I went into work, and my boss said to me, hadn't spoke to me all fucking day. All day hadn't spoke to me. And then sent me an email, basically saying, are you in or are you on leave? And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So you've been told there's something wrong. That's not, thingy. I said, I'm in, but I'll debrief you. I'll give you a small update tomorrow. And I said, you know me, mate, just staying positive. And he said, keep smiling. I was just like, fucking, but it almost sounded patronising. But then I did, and even then, I thought, well, was he just being nice? He might well have been, but it's just a way, I suppose, you try to sort of talk to people especially as you don't know what the incident is, for God's sake. But maybe I'm over. This is the problem. This is where I've spoken about this before. How I take things when I'm in an emotional place. And like I said, that's what I'm in at the moment. And fully, if you know why I'm fully emotional at the moment, and you will know eventually. But what I'm saying is, this is how I battle it. This is the real life of me just fucking chucking scenarios around. So yeah, anyway, so I kind of overreacted, and that was kind of, and I've had one of those days. Whilst I've been reflecting, just kind of, overanalyzing. I've probably done more overthinking than fucking reflecting, I think, if I'm brutally honest. But I have drawn that back because, again, it's really hard to undo, a process that I've been doing for 11 years of overthinking. It's really hard to undo that overnight. So you have to constantly challenge yourself. And that's what I've been doing. I've been challenging my overthinking, going, stop, fucking get back on the fucking train, start, keep up the podcast, keep up with your routine, keep up with your showers, your regular walks, your healthy eating, which I haven't been doing, but I need to do. But, you keep up these things. And, that's what I've been doing. So I've been drawing away from the negativity and trying to constantly battle and fight. And this is the importance of putting in these coping mechanisms, instilling these mitigations, if you like, the health and safety word, but putting in these different processes to help us. This is why we do it. So we're more open, we're more talkative. We express ourselves a bit more. We also incorporate reflection, hobbies, meditation. We do these in their little tiny areas because they help to process things and they help you to manage your own mental health. And also what it has done is by putting all these reflection time in, what I have done is I've been able to acknowledge when I think I'm overreacting, acknowledge my feelings a bit more. And this is not about me going, oh, okay, I'm feeling a bit fucking sad, or, I could do with a little bit of a cuddle. Yeah, I could do with a cuddle. We all could do with a cuddle. Christ, But at the same time, it's not about that. It's not about, looking for the mollycoddle aspect of it. It's just about being open and acknowledging I'm not feeling the best today. There's a way of articulating it without sounding needy. But at the same time, saying I might be a bit fucking down today, or I might be like... There's different ways of dealing with things. And that's what I'm learning. I'm learning to adapt myself. And that's why I constantly question myself. I constantly question my processes. Constantly question my habits. I try to change my habits. And it's constantly analysing yourself. And I think that's the only way, for me, that has actively worked in this last time, since I've started this journey, in January, the most important and prevalent part of that is by analysing. I've been able to acknowledge these things quicker and understand my body and try and undo the bad habits. And it will get to the point where reflecting will no longer be a necessity. It will just be something you do naturally. You naturally will look at a scenario and go, how would James... And I do this now. It's like I'll see an email and I go, that's how I reacted. Fucking hell, that's old James, you know, and you know that. And then you put more of a sensible head on. So we constantly adapt how we deal with different situations. I deal with other people. I deal with my friends all in different ways. And I deal with my family in different ways. There's lots of things sort of going on. So... But that's through my constant changes, my constant habits, these things I'm instilling. Like I said, there's a specific timeline, 3 months, I think I recall it was, that you have to do a continuous new habit, or you have to do a new habit continuously for 3 months to make it a learned habit, so it becomes natural. So that's where you have to constantly do these things, and that's what I've been doing. Like I said, I'm in. 8 months now? 8 months I've been doing this? Almost to the day, actually. I've been doing this stuff. So it's kind of like, I've had some hiccups. I've had some hiccups along the way. Of course I have. Because I've gone from being this angry, fucking wild, loose cannon to being a, sustainable, commendable part of community. Like, trying to better myself. So, and I'm constantly learning. Like I said, I found out this fact today. I'm not sure if I spoke about my last podcast, actually. And there is a little bit of a trigger warning here, just because I am going to be talking about, suicide. So, please stop for the next 3 or 4 minutes if you don't want to listen to an aspect about suicides. But what I did inherently understand, and this is where there's a big, big part of this at the end, is we all say that, male suicides are the highest, they've ever been, and they are the highest statistic of suicides is men. And there is a category, I think it's 30 to 45. It's increasing all the time because of the stresses and strains that are going on in the world. And men inherently struggling with trying to provide for their fucking family or themselves or just live. It's becoming a shit state, this world. But that's for someone else's podcast, not mine. But at the same time, we're adapting. We're sort of kind of... But men inherently have that higher stat. So, but I actually found out today, when I was doing a bit of research, that there is a similar suicide attempt between men and women. They're about the same. The biggest differences between the two... what am I going to call them? Because two genres, if you like, between men and females, is because genders. That's the one I was trying to think of, but I didn't want to offend anybody. But the difference between the two genders is mainly the fact that the women tend to talk about their problems on a more regular basis, so they tend to capture these things, whereas men, they don't. They hide it for so long and don't acknowledge their feelings or ask for support for so long that they always inherently choose a more lethal way of committing suicide. So that's the big difference. Although there is similarities in the amount of attempts there is. So what do I mean by that? And the reason I'm comparing that is because that just displays that there is a big mental health problem in men and women in terms of with the similar genders have similar sort of kind of problems and upsets. Maybe they're different problems, but there's the stats and the ratios say that they're inherently the same. However, women will tend to take a less lethal option and tend to look for support quicker, so it can be nipped in the bud, and they tend to reach out and they're in touch with that emotional side, so they can tend to talk to their friends more. Whereas men, on the other hand, are completely the opposite. We bottle it. We get angry. The signs are really there, but you just kind of think, fucking hell, he's just a bit stressed. And that's crazy as well. How many times, and this is fucking crazy, like, I have to say this because I thought about this the other day. How many times have you said, oh, he must just be a bit stressed out today? but never done anything about it. Have a think on that. Quick reflection on that for me. How many times have you said, oh, fucking hell, dickhead's in the right fucking mood. Yeah, he's probably a bit stressed out, mate. He's got this. How many of you have said that and then gone and asked that bloke if he's okay? Or have you just gone, I'm going to stay out the way of him because he's fucking angry? Maybe the guy does want to talk. Maybe he doesn't want to talk, but I guarantee by you just saying you don't sound the same or is everything okay, is there anything I can do? How much that attitude might change when you walk out the room and at least you've acknowledged it. You might say, no, there's nothing I want to do. No, I don't need your hand. You're fine. And even if he snaps back at you, I don't need your hand. You've tried, you've opened up, and he will regret that, because don't take that as a complete negativity. Yes, there is arseholes out there. I get that. I absolutely get that. But most of the time, the guy is an arsehole because of the way, either the way he's been fucking treated, the stress he's under, it could be the way he was raised. There's many factors, and there's no difference between the genders in any way, shape or form. In we all are impacted in different ways. But, like I said, the most shocking bit was how men choose the lethal option, a more lethal option every time. So that is why our statistics are so high, because we don't get the help. We don't talk. We don't actively try to engage with each other to say, I'm fucking struggling a bit, or do you fancy a game of golf, or do you fancy going out for a fucking drink or a meal? And yeah, it's hard to find that time, and there is, and a lot of life does get in the way, but sometimes you don't even have to go out for the meal and make the time, but sometimes you can just say, hey, how are you? Or what you been up to? How's things, buddy? Give them a quick call. Some people don't take calls. I'm one of those. There'll be people laughing. I don't take calls. I'm a bit of a nightmare for that. I don't know why. I find it a bit awkward. I think it's easier for me to text because I can regulate how long I want to talk for and if I've had enough. I know that sounds really fucking weird, but again, it's if you look at ADHD, that is basically another thing. You kind of try to stay in control. So these are all things that I'm learning all the time. And it's really, do you know what? It's really amazing to understand yourself. And let me take a quick drink. Sorry, I've got music on. It's a bit warm in it. Bloody hell, is it warm already? Jesus. But it's just amazing, sort of kind of, when I started this journey, it's amazing how when you instill these better things around you and you instill positivity. And even my boss today, when I spoke to her about, the incident, she said, how am I, and all this sort of stuff. A bit fucked off that she took 6 hours to get hold of me. You'd have thought it'd been a first thing in the morning, but I don't think she thought I was going to be in till she saw me in all day and was like, oh, he must be in. And so she did say, James, you always try to look at the positive side of life. And I went, well, I have to, because when you spend years looking at the negative side of life and the negative way people have treated you, and the times that you've sat there and endured the shit and you've taken the shit and you've lived in the shit and you've asked yourself the question, why am I living in this fucking shit? But not actively making an effort to get yourself out the shit. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of shit there, but you need to always ask yourself, get yourself out of it. I wouldn't be here talking to you now if I hadn't have started wanting to be more open and honest and try to help people, and also show that, men go through crazy shit. I'm trying to fucking raise kids with my own fucking problems with the kids, and, I'm trying to sort of be supportive in a marriage. we're moving now in 4 weeks, so we've got that over our head, and again, that'll take a big chunk of my fucking life. But all these things, they set to challenge us all the time, but you don't realise just how much sometimes you take on, and you don't realise until sometimes it's too late, and you go, fuck, I needed a bit of a hand there. And sometimes you have to actively reach out politely, and if no one gives you a hand, then that's fine. But if you turn around and say, I actually need a fucking hand now, mate, and they still don't turn up, then that's when we go back and we revert back to our whole friendship thing, and this is where I keep talking, and I can't reiterate enough, is how you have to make sure that you look after each other. Because you can't go through life successfully on your own. Nobody goes through life successfully on their own. They always go through life successfully when they're surrounded by the right people. We can't do everything. Trust me, I've fucking tried. I've tried for years to do everything myself. And it just puts you in a world of pain. It just puts you in a world of stress. Your body's fucking ruined. Your mind's fucking ruined. You know, relationships have failed. Friendships have failed. This is what happens when you do things on your own. There's a lot of failure. And I genuinely believe that failure is surrounded by not being surrounded by the right people. And failure is encompassed in that because you've not got the right people around you. If you're surrounded by the right people, you're loved by the right people that want to see you fucking succeed, and they want to see you better yourself, and they want to be there when you are succeeding, and they message you, they chat to you all the time. They're the people that you want around you. You don't want someone just fucking leeching on or just fucking dribbling on or whatever. You don't want to be surrounded by people that just constantly fucking moan about the negativity of their life and don't do anything about it because it's constant negativity. You want to succeed. You want people to be happy for you succeeding. I'm very much so. Like, I am an absolute fucking advocate of telling people, you know, and helping people to succeed. It's what I do. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy seeing the smiles on their face when they succeed. And I enjoy that, and I've done that with a lot of people around me. I've forced them to succeed and gone, you are capable of this, and that's because I get a warm feeling out of that. And if I'm surrounded by the right people will tell me I've succeeded. They will do it naturally. They won't be prompted. They'll just be like, "Fucking hell, mate! You know, you've done an amazing job," because that's a team effort. Then I've helped them; they've helped me. They might not be able to physically help me, you know, because of their own circumstances, but sometimes it's just about hearing it. And that's the most important thing. That's where I think the communication gets lost in friendships, is telling people they're doing a good job, because we all believe that we go home and our wives and our parents tell us we do an amazing job, but it's not their job to do it anymore. You know, you've moved away from your parents, say, for instance, they're off, they're doing their own thing. You know, your wife's got her own life and you support each other when you can. But we're distracted by natural things in life, their own success or children or whatever it may be. So what we do rely on then is we kind of rely on our mates, our friends, to do that for us, to build us up and be there and be happy that we're succeeding, and then obviously push us to succeed even more. Don't hold us back. Go, fuck me, mate, you can go to the fucking world and back. And we'll all, and that's where the friendship comes in, and it's almost like, it's a beautiful feeling to have that around you and know that people want you to succeed. People want you to be happy, and people want to engage with you. And that is where this whole journey is just, it's encompassed in this. And that's what's helped me. Absolutely got me to where I am now in the last 7-8 months. And that's where, you know, I'm going to finish, actually, because I think that's a nice little thing to finish on. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to say hi. I want to keep this going, and I just wanted to sort of reach out, make sure everyone else is okay as well, and just obviously chuck a little scenario. If you think that there's too much in masculinity, maybe there's a little bit too much, where's that level? Where's that definition? That'd be important to know. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you have a pleasant evening, day, whenever you're listening to this. Thank you to everybody for listening as well, and I'm always thankful for you know, if I've helped you, or maybe you know somebody, like we said before, that is struggling, and you can point them in the direction of my podcast, and a like, comment, or share, or, you know, share amongst them. That might help them, and it might bring me some more scenarios my way that I may be able to help them with, because I'm always learning myself. I'm always pursuing ways to better my life and bring as many people along for the journey as possible. That's so important to me. Is, like I said, if I've got 1,000 people listening and 999 don't do anything, but the one, you know, that one person I actually help and make his life better, or her, if it could be, then that sort of that's what I'm aiming for. It's trying to just highlight these problems that we face on a daily basis, especially as the world is, you know, a bit of a shitstorm at the moment with fucking energy prices, tax prices. You know, it's becoming a crazy place. Impending wars, fucking everything. There's a lot going on. So mental health now is more important than ever, and we must look after ourselves. We must be there for each other. So yeah, thanks for listening, and take care. And I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.